What's up, fellas? Welcome back. Today we're checking out 14 obscure Pokemon facts that you didn't know.
Did you know a Zurill can change gender when evolving? Did you know Poliwag is based on a tadpole? Oh,
okay, that one. I knew that one. I knew that
Good.
one. But I totally knew about the Azurill changing genders. That one, everyone knows that. Clearly, I knew that too.
Then I'm going to tell you some facts about Pokemon that you actually don't know. My name is Finn, and you're joining me on episode 7 in my series of searching down the most obscure Pokemon knowledge I can find and bringing it to you.
Shout out Blue Boy Finn. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, he makes some crazy good Pokemon videos.
When the player has completely filled the National Pokedex in Heart Gold Soul Silver, during Professor Oak's congratulations speech, there's a typo in this sentence.
Where's a typo? Meeting you is something I will cherish all my life long. Ooh, there shouldn't be my. No my.
The typo here is that the I is actually a lowercase l, which I think is freaking hilarious.
Am I stupid? Am I an idiot? Don't say yes. That was rhetorical. Do not answer that question. Even if the I was actually an I, meeting you is something I will cherish all my life long. There shouldn't be long at the end. I know I said my earlier, but like that sentence just doesn't make sense. Long should not be at the end of that sentence. And also, obviously, the L should be an I. Well, there's a lot of things wrong with that sentence. It's a cursed sentence.
When you're playing through the beginning of Pokemon Emerald, in order to progress further in the game, you have to go beat the first gym and save Pico the Wingull. But on your way back down south, there's a forced encounter with May where she gives you an option to battle. But what if on the way back from saving Pico, you black out in a wild encounter? Well, you'd wake up in the Rustboro Poke Center, of course. But what if you never used the Rustboro Poke Center? What if you charged right through the first gym and the stupid Whismur Cave, but then you white out to a random Pokemon battle and wake up back in Petalburg, bypassing May completely? Well, they actually thought of this, and there's a secondary encounter you get with May in front of Mr. Briney's house if you end up in this position.
Whoa! Wait, that's kind of crazy. I think I've played and beaten Pokemon Emerald / Ruby / whatever / Sapphire probably a total of 20 times. I don't think that's happened to me once. Generation 3 is the best generation though, hands down. Come on.
In Generation 2, when you first encounter the boy who lost his Farfetch'd in Elix Forest, his sprite is very clearly green colored. But when he receives his Farfetch'd and comes back to his house, his sprite for some reason changes to blue. In one of my past...
Was that a fact? Was that like his whole fact? What if he just, changed his clothes? I guess to be fair, that never happens in Pokemon, which, thinking about it, kind of disgusting. Mildly disgusting. For the entire journey, every single person wears the exact same clothes. They must all smell like garbage. Either that or everyone just has the exact same outfit for every day. But also, there's no poop breaks. I have probably 20, 30, 40, 50 hours on some Pokemon games. My character didn't poop once. Just saying. Just saying. Pokemon is a weird world.
Fact videos, I mentioned the game Pokémon Ranch for the Wii, which was a digital-only Wii game.
Whoa.
Well, calling it a game is a bit of a stretch. It was basically an older version of Pokemon Home. Its main purpose was transferring your Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl to a main hub. Well, when researching more about this game, I discovered some events that I found to be incredibly interesting. You see, by transferring the correct Pokemon into the ranch, you could activate specific events. By transferring every single unknown, you could activate an event that would turn all the unknown into a giant keyboard. By transferring 40 host Pokemon like Rapidash, Girafarig, or Ponyta, you could activate a giant carousel. And by depositing 10 Illumzi or Volbeat, you could make them all slow dance. And one of the coolest ones I saw is by transferring Bulbasaur, Pikachu, Meowth, Teddiursa, Munchlax, and Torchic all at once, the main characters of the DS game Pokemon Dash, they would all start to race against each other just like in Pokemon Dash. Surprisingly, there's actually a lot more of these events, but so far these are the only ones on the internet that I could find footage of.
Wait, so you can add Pokemon to the Wii? How am I just finding this out now? That would have been like a childhood memory that I would never forget. Not that I didn't have a good childhood, but that would have made my childhood like 10 times cooler. Imagine playing Wii baseball and Pikachu is pitching. Hello? That would be sick. You know how there's the Mario baseball game? They should make a Pokemon baseball game. They could definitely do some really cool effects with that stuff. Hold on, I might be onto something. In
Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, in the summary screen for the move Nature Power, it reads that it has 95% accuracy. But
what?
It doesn't. You see, Nature Power pulls a random move depending on what location you are in, such as Stun Spore in regular grass or Hydro Pump when you're underwater.
Wait, this is probably really lame of me to admit, but I never actually knew how Hidden Power worked. I felt like every time I used it, it just used strength, like every time, so then I would never really use it ever. But low-key, that is a really cool move. Is it that good? Probably not. It's probably not super practical, but really cool concept.
And the move actually calculates its accuracy based on the accuracy of whatever move it pulls. So this 95 number means absolutely nothing. So why is it there?
So it's kind of like metronome. Isn't that how metronome works? Except I think it's metronome. I'm pretty sure. If it's not metronome, you guys know what I'm talking about. Metronome, the move that Mew uses where it literally just takes a random move out of all moves in the entire game and uses it. But if like your metronome lands on a Hydro Pump, does that mean that it has an 80% chance to land as well? I would imagine so.
Archeop's Pokedex number is 576. Archeop's base stat total is 576.
That says 567. Hold on. Red flag, sound the alarm. Wee-woo. Something here is not right. This fact is not true. Wait, let's see this. Archeops, dex number. Okay, his Pokédex number actually is 567, and Mr. Blue Boy Finn typoed and also misspoke because his Pokédex number is 567, not 576. So this should say 567 here.
Archeop's base stat total is 576.
But it actually is 567 though. He misspoke. That still is a very cool and interesting fact, but misinterpreted.
That's the fact.
I love how he like emphasizes like that's the fact. That is it. That's all it is. Except it isn't. That's not a fact.
November 16th, 2001, the New York Pokémon Center opened. An absolute Pokemon hub.
Wait, that looks
there was
awesome.
Endless plushies and collectibles, custom statues, and even special event Pokemon distributed regularly. But sadly, it didn't last long. On January 2005, the store closed for remodeling and opened again as Nintendo World, where it still stands today. While almost every single thing was changed and redone to fit the theme of Nintendo, there is one bit of architecture left that stood the test of time since its opening over 20 years ago. And that is the Pokemon door handles on the entrance to the building.
Wait, that is actually sick. I need to go there. I've been to New York quite a few times now, but I never even knew that existed. Next time I'm there, I'm definitely going.
Generation 2, if a Pokemon is asleep or frozen, it cannot flinch. Obviously, because that would make no sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But speaking of no sense, there actually is one thing that can cause a sleeping or frozen Pokemon to flinch, and that is the King's Rock. Why? If you look at this—
Wait, hold on. If that does happen though, and you flinch while you're asleep, does that count as a turn asleep or no? You know what I'm saying? Because like in the game, if you're asleep, your Pokemon will do like the sleeping animation after every single turn. But if you flinch, does it still do the animation? And if it doesn't do the animation, does that mean that it counted that turn as being asleep? Or did it count that turn as you flinched? I don't know. But if you included that part, then I would be like, now that is a cool fact. Not that it wasn't a cool fact already, but still have some questions.
This Pokemon, I know, you've looked at it enough. Could you tell me which types it would be weak to? If
I
you
can.
said
Water, rock, electric, and that's it.
rock, water, and electric, you'd be right.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Booyah.
You see, there was a time where Charizard was actually weak to one other type.
No way.
In all Pokemon games now, fire is resistant to ice, which makes perfect sense. But in Generation 1, ice was actually neutral against fire, meaning that in Generation 1 only, Charizard was also weak to ice type.
Whoa! Okay, that is probably my favorite fact so far. That is really interesting. Weirdly enough, I was thinking ice in my head, but then I was like, because obviously ice is super effective to flying, but Charizard is also a fire type, so didn't really make sense.
If you're new to the channel, you might not be aware of this yet, but there's a few strange, obscure licensed Pokemon games I really like to make fun of from time to time. Those games, of course, being Pokemon Team Turbo and Pokemon Masters Arena, which are two incredibly atrocious Pokemon PC games that's pure existence.
What even is this?
Warrants 1,000 questions in itself.
This looks like it could be a Club Penguin game, and I was addicted to Club Penguin, I can't lie, so maybe I would have been addicted to that game too.
But if you're thinking it might be low-hanging fruit to pick on these games, I mean, it's a DVD game in the dollar bin at Target, I get it. But I'd like to introduce you to the nail in the coffin. Now, I'm no programmer,
Team
and you could
Turbo?
write off
What
everything
is
I've
this?
said so far about these games as just me being ignorant to game design, because I don't know the first thing about making a game. But this next thing is inexcusable. These guys had the absolute nerve to misspell Rayquaza.
No.
This is a licensed Pokemon game that has a misspelled Pokemon in it. Am I crazy? Okay, next.
That is pretty insane. It did remind me of the game Monkey Balls. Don't make it weird, guys. Don't make it weird. Monkey Balls was a fantastic game. And I might find a way to install Monkey Balls on my PC. Don't clip that sentence. Don't clip that sentence. Monkey Balls 2. Let's be specific. Phenomenal game. It really reminded me of that game. You know, I'm actually going to write that down. I'm writing that down so I don't forget. Monkey Balls. Monkey Balls. Okay, I should not have looked that up. I'm scarred for life. I don't know why they are blue. Anyway, let's continue.
Next fact. Actually, hold on. I'm not over this. My eyes
Oh
are
my
broken.
God.
You're seeing this too, right? That is Rayquaza misspelled in the game. I mean, I get it. Rayquaza's hard to spell. But the programmers just free-handed it? No Google spell check?
He is
You're just gonna
destroying
go with your gut
this
on this
game.
one? John? Really? Of all the words to trust your gut on, you choose Rayquaza. Nice. That is just insane to me. No one spells Rayquaza right the first time, but no one just freaking sends it either. This game has literally no other content besides the fact that Pokemon are in it. ValueSoft. They literally paid you to type the word Rayquaza. That's it. I literally can't believe what I'm seeing. Okay, let's move on from this. In Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver on Route 43, slightly south of the Lake of Rage, there's a small pond that when surfed on contains only Magikarp. But these Magikarp are quite intriguing. There's
Easter
a
egg.
99% chance that the Magikarp you encounter will be between the levels of 5 and 25.
I thought he was going to say it's shiny. I was like, what? How is there a lake where there's 99% chance to get a shiny Magikarp? In that case, it would actually be pretty cool to get a non-shiny Magikarp.
But for some reason, there's a 1% spawn rate for a level 50 Magikarp to appear.
Why?
And for some perspective, your Pokemon at this point are barely past level 30, if
Wait,
that.
that is so
why
OP.
is this random 1% Magikarp 20 levels higher? Also in Heart Gold Soul Silver, there's a place you've probably...
I thought he was about to give us an answer. I was like, well, very much so expecting him to be like, because it's blah, 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 blah. Nope, no answer. That is the most overpowered Pokemon that you could probably catch other than legendaries in the game then. It's pretty much guaranteeing you a level 51 Gyarados relatively early in the game.
been to called the Pokeathlon, which holds mini games for you to play and try and reach the highest scores you can. Upon completing and getting very high scores on every single challenge, earning the right amount of trophies and unlocking every single thing you can, the final thing you unlock will be this room called the Friendship Room, where you actually get to see something very unique. By clicking on this statue, you get to see an alternate sprite art of your protagonist, either Ethan or Lyra, in a Pokeathlon uniform. And the sprite is absolutely nowhere else in the entire game besides locked away in this small room. I've wanted to include a fact about the Sinjo ruins in Heart Gold Soul Silver for a very long time. And now thanks to Silver Explorer and my Discord, I finally have a cool fact to show you guys. If you've never heard of the Sinjo Ruins, it's a special event location in the ruins of Alph. If you bring a legitimate event Arceus here, it will initiate an event where tons of crazy images flash on the screen, and then Arceus creates and hatches an egg of either Dialga, Palkia, or Giratina. This is also, to my knowledge, the only time the real world has ever been shown in a main series Pokemon game,
Whoa.
which is just pretty interesting by itself. But if you talk to your Arceus in the overworld in this room only, you get a hidden line of text that says Arceus looked up and shouted at the sky, which I think is an incredible little detail.
Does anything happen after he shouts at the sky? Or it's like whenever you're in the room and you talk to him, like, you're just like, yo, hi Arceus, how you doing? And his response is, ah! Is he in pain? What is going on? What is wrong with the Arceus?
Have you ever wondered what the world's rarest shiny Pokemon is?
No.
The next thing I want to talk about is far more interesting.
Okay.
A company called Jack Specific worked with Pokemon to create a toy called the Pokemon Battle Dome playset that let you customize and create battles with a bunch of Pokemon figures. The set released somewhat alongside Diamond and Pearl, but what's interesting is not the playset itself, but rather the promotional material. You see, the original prototype design of this toy showcased in promotions was completely different and far weirder. There were rocks that looked like weird Geodude bodies, 3 Pikachu figures, and most notably, a shiny Kingdra figure.
Ooh.
Looking at this picture, there are so many questions. Why are 2 of these Pikachus the same? Why are there weird Geodude rocks? Why is there a Mudkip and a Bonsly? And why is half of Kingdra red? Well, with the little information we have, we can probably deduce that this was very early in development, and was nothing more than a concept design. But regardless, the truth is that this shiny Kingdra figure that is somewhere out there is entirely one of a kind. It might be possible that a few of these were made and never distributed, but this is the only picture of this figure that exists on the entire internet. And if there is more than this one figure, I would bet you all my shiny Pokemon that you could count the amount of Kingdra figures like this one on a single hand.
This reminds me of like a good accident, I guess. Kind of like how in Minecraft, when they went to Code the Pig, it really came out as a creeper, and then the developers ended up liking the creeper so much that they kept it in the game. This is kind of like that, a little bit, where the Kingdra is clearly messed up, but low-key it's kind of cool. But I guess they didn't like it enough because they never actually produced it.
And although this toy and this set has fallen entirely into obscurity, somewhere out there, in a box, or an old storage unit, or laying in a landfill, lies the rarest shiny Pokemon on the entire planet.
Wow. A shiny Kingdra. It's like a half shiny Kingdra. It's a custom shiny Kingdra figurine. That is the rarest shiny ever created. Again, shout out to Blue Boy Finn for making this video. He makes some awesome stuff. Please go check him out. If you guys do want to watch some more really fun, cool, awesome, epic gamer videos, make sure to leave a like and click right here.